Welcome to December Days with me, Wayne Clark of Trinity Baptist Church in Gorton. It's December the 19th. We're moving rapidly towards Christmas now, and we've got another thought and Bible verse and word for the day as we count the days down in Advent. And today's word for the day is census. You've heard this tale so many times that you know how the census fits into the Christmas story. The census is the reason Mary and Joseph travel from Nazareth in the north to Bethlehem in the south of their country. It's mentioned in Luke chapter 2, verses 1 to 3. Let's go back to those familiar words. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to their own town to register. Luke knows how to tell a story, doesn't he? He starts with some historical background. Now, we have to admit, to be honest, that historians scratch their head when they read this background to the passage about two things. First of all, we don't have evidence elsewhere of a census of the entire Roman world. And secondly, we're not sure if Quirinius became governor of this province until later. In fact, the NIV Bible says verse 2 could be translated before Quirinius was governor of Syria, because we know that Quirinius was governor later. But we do know there were times when people were counted, mainly so the Romans knew how much tax to collect. And we do know that Quirinius was around at this time. He's well attested in other history. And we do know that Luke was a good historian. He would have looked into the facts before he wrote this. So, in my view, the rest will just have to sort itself out. But we do know that this happened in a time and in a place and in a circumstance in which two ordinary people were caught up. Mary and Joseph were now newly married, and Mary was pregnant. Now, the Bible doesn't say she was heavily pregnant and about to give birth, like lots of nativity plays like to tell us, but she had been to Elizabeth's and back, so she must have been some months pregnant. So the news that they had to go back down south would not have been just inconvenient, but difficult and dangerous for them. Joseph and Mary are again victims of the political circumstances of their time. They're politically displaced people, like so many in our world today, lives who are affected by the decisions of others far away and way beyond their control. Many in our world know what that feels like. Something these verses do remind us of is that the birth of Jesus happened in a very real time and place. This is not a fairy story. This is rooted in a real place at a definite time. This is history. We may not be sure of the date or even of the year when this happened, but we know that Mary and Joseph did go to a town called Bethlehem. It's a real place. You can go there today, political restrictions allowing. And they had a very real baby. Mary and Joseph oversaw the birth of the very real child who was the very real Son of God. And the reality, the flesh and bones, time and place reality of the Christmas story is something we need to hold on to. It can be lost, I think, in the children's nativity plays, as lovely as they are. And the carol singing, as beautiful as that sometimes can be, and nostalgic and memorable. Sometimes we can sing about it as if it's a time and place lost in mythology, but this is reality. The birth of Jesus is as real as the Roman Empire, as the Emperor Augustus that this passage begins with. But it matters even more than the history of the great empires coming and going. I wonder how much it matters to you, particularly that very specific time and place where Jesus came into the world. Something to ponder today. How much does that birth of Jesus truly matter to you as a living historical reality? This is December Days. We're firmly on the way now, and tomorrow we're on a journey with Mary and Joseph.